The report that we are examining is touching on very important issues regarding the continent's integration, especially when it touches on African people, because this is where we move from rhetoric to reality, because the integration of Africa shouldn't be about goods and services only. It should be about African people. That's my take anyway, and that's ECA's position. Trade is very critical, and the AFCFTA, like I indicated, is not an ordinary trade agreement. It's a transformative and game-changing arrangement that goes beyond goods and services, but also African people. I don't know what your perspectives are.
For me, one thing that really comes out with the report itself is just the significance of the member states that have been put in place, considering the history that these particular countries, Ghana, Kenya, and Zambia, have in Africa's liberation, and also subsequent desire for integration as a continent. And when we look at even just the age bracket of the people in the liberation struggles of these particular countries, you will find out that majority of the freedom fighters for the liberation of these states were young people. And because young people are at the focal point of the liberation of Africa, and also the subsequent advancement of the need for integration. And I think young people also need to be a major majority, which the report actually brings out. Young people of Africa are the largest consumers of goods and services, or the largest producers in terms of constituents of goods and services. So hinging, the movement of people and also trade on the aspect of young people in Ghana, Kenya, and Zambia, and also in Africa at large, I think it's really, really important. So it's quite a fascinating conversation so far.
I want to take us a bigger step back. He's gone to the liberation era space. The continent, and I think even the three countries that we're discussing, are countries and spaces that were built on forms of movement, whether it was voluntary in people seeking to trade internally within the African continent, or whether it was forced through the slave trade and through labor mobility arrangements in the sub-regions. It means how we shape the future of African movement, how we shape the future role of Africans in this discourse has to now have African ownership in it. So, we're having this workshop in Mombasa, which bears significant historical relevance, not only for Kenya, but for East and Southern Africa in the movement of goods. Ghana, likewise, from a Gold Coast point of view, you cannot talk about Zambia without talking about the importance of Zambia, both as a mining country, but also as a source of labor within the greater sub-region. So for us to be having this kind of conversation that allows us to interface between the movement of people, fundamentally, Francis, what you spoke about, which is we can talk about goods, we can talk about trade, but these are not there, they don't exist, they're not possible without people. So this takes us back, and then it takes us to the point that Walter was making, which is when we say African people, let's be specific about what we mean. This is a young continent. It's a continent in which people will move regardless of what rules you put in place. Right. So you need to be able to shape rules that ensure that these young people on the move are not treated as illegal by virtue of making choices to better improve their lives.
Yeah. I agree with you absolutely, and there are concerns that seem to impede free movement of person, and security is key. Coming from ISS, I don't know whether it is a founded concern, but I think it is overstated.
Look, security will always be a concern, and I like to always say that we need to balance the benefits of migration, but also manage the risks that come with it. And when I talk about risks, I'm not just talking about, let's say, the threat of violent extremism or trans-border crime, because people that are going to commit illicit activities don't care for the rules. Right. So we need to be able to put in place the right kinds of mechanisms that protect people on the move against trafficking in persons and against smuggling. And then we might be able to achieve the goals.